What's up, guys? Jim Squares here, bringing you some of the best solutions to build wealth, create happiness, and to get more fit. So, I got the best life equations for you, or the best ones I found so far. But first, make sure you like and subscribe down below, share this with others, especially if you benefit, and we'll get right into it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to break down equations. So, for the first one, we're going to start with happiness. Happiness is a great equation. So you think about happiness and you're like, okay, what is happiness? Happiness is the components of health, and then wealth, and then good relationships. And so now you have the better health, the better wealth, and the better relationships you have, the more happy you're going to be. So it comes down to that simple. And I'll put all these in the show notes so you can just copy and paste these and reuse these, and just to give you a reiteration of what they are. But then let's further break that down because that's just not enough, Jim. That's not enough information. Health. What is truly health? So health, you can get better health by exercising, your diet, and sleep. So those are the core three pillars of health. So now that's still, Jim, still not enough. We got to get more detailed on what truly are those things. So what you do is you want to look at all the components out there that can make up the possibility of these, and then so what are the things that everyone agrees on? So everyone agrees for exercise, high intensity resistance training. So everyone agrees that have that kind of training, or playing sports and then getting adequate rest. So those are the three things that really are the core of what exercise is, and to get the most out of exercise. So high intensity resistance training, so lifting. You could also do running in there. Running's a little hard on the body, but so is lifting. So HIIT training is really good for the body for getting your heart rate up, but it's hard on the joints. So you got to find the right thing for you. So any kind of exercise, it could be sports, just as long as you're active, and then getting an adequate amount of rest. So that's exercise. I think we've killed that one. Now, diet. So here's what you want to look at. There's so many crazy things about diet, but what you want to do is you want to look at it all and go, what does everyone agree about? So, or 99%. There is always the 1%, but you can at least know that most people say natural foods in their natural state. Hardly anyone says, hey, you really need to add chemicals to that product to make it healthy. So no one says that you need to add chemicals to an apple to make it healthier for you. They just don't say that. Intermittent fasting, so giving your body a chance to rest. So that's what I actually do that. So I try to stop eating around 5 o'clock at the very latest, but 4 o'clock ideally, and then go through all night, and then don't eat anything. And then in the morning I wake up, I work out, and then after that, then I start eating. So my body's all of that time to repair and to make itself better and work on other things instead of just processing food. Because if you're eating all day, you're constantly process food, process food, process food, process food. Your body doesn't get a break to repair, like my tennis elbow, which is much better now. But yeah. So that natural foods is one. Intermittent fasting is two, and then plants. No one ever says you really shouldn't eat that many plants. Like who says that? You really should eat less salads. Maybe less dressing or less meat on the salads, but no one says less salads. No one says less spinach. That it might not taste great, and trust me, the more you eat it, the more you get into it. And you could start if it's a salad with dressing. Start there. That's fine. That's better than like not doing it, just having a carrot cake or whatever. So that's diet. So those are the three components of diet. Let's take it back up now to remember health is exercise, diet, which we covered, and now we're going into sleep. So sleep is really around three things, and this is difficult. But ideally, sleep would be no alarms. You just wake up when you naturally wake up. That is difficult for those of us who have a job or who have kids, because both of them activate our alarms, or they just make us make us wake up. So, but if you can do no alarms, go for it. So 8 to 9 hours, I actually truly believe that is closer to the right amount. Sometimes I sleep much less, but in general, 7 to 8 hours is kind of my window. But I think 8 to 9 hours, I know you get the lowest resting heart rate the longer you sleep. So, and that makes your body last longer. So sleep long. Circadian rhythm. So I am a morning person. I like to go to sleep early when it gets dark because I want to get up early. It's quiet and there's no one around, and you can get a bunch of things done. You can think clearly, and body can wake up, and then you're fully awake when everyone's just still groggy and waking up. So I like to wake up 4:30. That's just me. So my wife is the opposite. Like she does not function in the morning, but she can go all night. Like she can just stay way late. So that's just that's her, and she's built that way. So now we know, like we have that kind of relationship. So she stays up late, I get up early, and it just works. So those are some of the core things that make up health. But now we'll go back to happiness, right? Because happiness is built of health and then wealth. So now let's break down wealth. So wealth is truly like income, how much you make. Wealth is how much you've kept from what you make. So you make 100K and you save 10K, that's wealth. That is your wealth. And you want to get that bigger and bigger and bigger as you can. So you keep throwing money at it. The earlier you throw money at it, the faster it will grow. The more you throw money at it, the faster it will grow. The longer you throw money at it, the faster it will grow. So all of these things, use these systems that are available to you to benefit. But think of wealth is really income plus wealth, and then the wealth times return on investment. So if you get a 2% return, 1% return from the bank, or you can invest in companies or stocks or ETFs, you can get 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe 12. 12 is pushing, but small cap value, take a look at Paul Merriman's stuff. He talks about 12% returns, and he is much more knowledgeable about that stuff, but I bought in. So that's my money. That's where my money's going. But yeah, so that would be return on investment. And some of the key things for return on investment to help you build return on investment is buy and hold forever. Valuation. So when you buy things on the cheap, when there's a dip, when there's a depression, or the new normal. So as that phrase was thrown around, remember? I don't know if you remember that, but the new normal went away. It's not normal anymore. And then COVID came. Now the COVID's the new normal. And then that now went away, or on the way out anyway. There'll be another new normal or bad thing, and it'll be never seen before. And then that's when you want to buy if you can. So hopefully you're able to. Or if you have money invested and you have some in bonds and some in stocks, when they have those new normals or corrections, just take a little bit of money out of those bonds and put them into stocks. So when you see your money dip, if you can do that, you're going to be killing it. So, all right. So we talked about wealth being income plus wealth times return on investment. Now how to build your income. So if we back up to income can be made of 3 components, which is accountability, leverage, and specific knowledge. So accountability is your personal brand. Like, who are you? Who would know me over Grant Cardone? Most people know Grant Cardone. He's a much higher personal brand than Jim Squares does. So he can earn more money that way. So that he has a bigger platform because he has his own platforms, his own businesses. So he's making more money that way. He taking risk. So he probably is able to take much more risk because he has much more that he could lose and it doesn't impact him. Where me, I can't able to take the same amount of risk as him, but I can still take some more risk than some other people. So it's all a scale. So don't compare yourself. Just figure out where you fit, and then figure out where you're comfortable and what's the appropriate amount for you. So that's accountability. Leverage. So leverage is really by 3 things. So the 3 things of leverage, and this is epiphany that came to me. And I read it out of Naval Ravikant. I'm going to butcher his name. His book, he has a PDF out there, free PDF. I highly recommend getting it. But this is where I got all these equations from, and these are awesome. But leverage is made of one of 3 things, or be all 3, is intellectual property, so a patent, something like that. Capital, so your wealth or money, or people, so you're a manager, a status game. But he said the first 2, there's really not as much competition. When you have a patent, there's nothing, no one can do anything about it. They can steal it, but you have the legal binding or protection behind it. So it's a patent, so it's yours. Capital, it's yours. So the people, though, is a little bit more difficult. So there's a lot of people competing to be managers and bosses, and it's very difficult ladder to climb because you have to have the skill, and then you have to also compete with a bunch of people who think they want to be managers or are managers. And there's also the other factors that go into that. And so it's like, okay, where do you want to put your leverage in? Where can you benefit the most from? Like, is it easier to create a patent or to save your capital? Or is it easier to become a manager? So it depends on where you are, where your skills are, and what your tooling is. So it's up to you. Just know that if you talk to somebody and you say, what do you do? Oh, I'm a manager at, I'm a director at, I'm a vice president at, I'm an executive at. That's status. Like, that's all status. That's just coming out status. They don't, and then if you don't have that, you just say, well, I'm a technician or I'm a analyst. You say things like that. You never say, if you're a manager, oh, I'm an analyst at. You always throw out that I have people under me. So just keep that in mind. So what's the status game? So do you want to play? If you want to play, it's awesome. So go for it. It's a definite form of leverage, but just know what it is. So Specific knowledge. So specific knowledge is knowing how to do something society cannot easily train people to do. So specific knowledge is something where you know it can't be automated. Something that they have like TaskRabbit for. You know, Amazon has that service where they pay people to, no, I don't know, it's not click a button, but read something and translate it, something to that effect. But that would be specific knowledge. So let's go back to income is accountability plus leverage, which we talked about, and specific knowledge. So if you have any of those, like the more you build all three of those up, the more you're going to get. So the more, like, even if you're not super strong at accountability, one form of accountability, you can take another one. So you might be real, like I'm very strong at taking risk. And then my leverage is capital. And I have a little intellectual property too. And then specific knowledge, I have some specific knowledge too. So those are my three forms of income that I help to increase my wealth. And I take portions of all those, throw them into my wealth, and try to drive up my return on investment as high as I can with taking a minimum amount of work and time while doing that. And that's what I share with all of you. So that's what I got for you. So I highly recommend the book. Check out in the show notes, I put the equations, and they're for your benefit. You don't have to watch this whole video for it, even though you waited to the end. If you did, I hope you enjoyed it. So in the meantime, I recommend checking out my playlist on money, and keep growing together. Share this with others, and we'll be talking to you later.